So I recently upgraded my iPhone. I previously had an iPhone 8 in the delightful product red colours, and I decided to go and get myself an iPhone 11, again in the product red colours. And I thought I'd just make a quick video about my first impressions of the phone, and also to detail the experience I had trying to get accessories for the phone, so a case and a screen protector. But before I get to that, why buy an iPhone? I know there's a lot of choice on the market when it comes to smartphones. Loads of different Android devices with great build quality, great cameras, great battery life. But the reality is that I've had lots of Android devices and I don't personally like them. I don't have anything against Android, and I know many people watching, well, they probably do like Android, but for me, it doesn't really work. What other choice is there? I really liked Windows Phone when that was a thing, but you can't get a Windows Phone anymore, so I'm sort of stuck with iPhone. And the problem is, at this point, I'm kind of neck deep into Apple's ecosystem. It all starts out with buying a phone, and then you end up with the iPad and maybe a laptop, and before you know it, you're using the iCloud functionality, and you've got all your photos within Apple's ecosystem, and then you're buying movies in their ecosystem, and you're subscribing to the music system, which you can share with your whole family, which is a good deal, and I do that. And then, of course, now there's Apple Arcade. That's probably a subject for another video. But Apple have really got you tied in with all of these things, and it's sort of a bit like Stockholm Syndrome. Because the reality is, I shouldn't be replacing a phone after just 18 months. It was probably just that it needed a bit of a reset, but I had so much stuff on my phone, I really didn't want to do that. I just thought, if I'm doing this, I'm just going to change the phone. And another reason for it as well, of course, is that at that point, the phone has still got a value in the second-hand market. So I got a good price back for the phone, and that went towards buying this new handset. So I went to the Apple Store and I chose the product red version of the phone again. And my initial impression is that it's not the same red that the iPhone 8 was. This, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but this is a little bit more pink. The iPhone 8 product red just seems to be a more deep red. I don't really like this shade of red. But at the end of the day, does that matter? Because the first thing you do with your shiny new phone is put a case on it, right? So I thought, well, I'm in the Apple Store. They've got cases here, so I may as well go and see what they've got. And I'm looking at these rows and rows of different cases for your iPhone, and all different colors you can imagine, different materials. But every single one that I pick off the shelf seems to be for a different phone. So I asked the sales assistant, what have you got for iPhone 11? And he pointed to just one section of one shelf. I kid you not, they had black, grey, white, or clear. That was it. Those are your choices. It's almost like they're punishing me for buying the iPhone 11 and not going for the iPhone 11 Pro, or the iPhone Filishave edition, as I like to call it. And then you look at the prices on the back of these packets, for the cases, and they want £45 for a basic plastic case. And that doesn't come with a screen protector. You've got to buy that separately, and those are £40. So that's another £85 just to put a bit of protection on your iPhone to make it last. So I did a bit of shopping around on Amazon. Obviously, I refuse to pay Apple's prices. It's just crazy. And I found a really nice case, and I wanted to feature that in this video as well, because they've done a great job, and I think it's worthy of praise. There's a company called Torras. It was £15, and it came with the glass screen protector, which I have installed onto my iPhone. It was really easy to install, and it looks okay. I got it on straight, which was nice. But this case is fantastic. It's a really nice red, and I think they've done a great job of just matching the tone of the phone. It's not the same color. It's not exactly the same color, but it's very close, and I think it keeps the overall aesthetic of the phone together. It looks like a sort of metallic case, but it's not. It's got I wouldn't say rubberized feel to it, but it's certainly a tactile feel. You're not gonna drop it. It doesn't slide around in your hands. And I also like the fact that it has this ridge around where the camera lenses are, because of course the camera lenses stick out from the back of the phone, and if you put the phone down on a table and they're not covered, you're going to scratch or damage those. So that stops the damage from occurring. So if I pop it on, it covers up that red colour that I really don't like very much, and it gives the phone the aesthetic that I wanted. It's a very pleasing look. They do other colours as well. It's not just red that's available. I just think for £15, including a glass screen protector, that's really good value for money. And Apple, you need to sort out your pricing. That's just daylight robbery, trying to charge people £85 for a screen protector in a case. I guess that's the reason why Apple is worth $1 trillion. And what about the phone itself? I'll start with those cameras. I don't like the look of it, the twin lens thing. I certainly don't like the 3-lens look. And I'm not a fan of computational photography either. I am a photographer, and so I enjoy getting a great shot and going through that process and the pain of trying to get to that great shot. I don't want a computer to do it for me. And frankly, everything I've tried on this so far with the computational photography looks terrible. Photos I've taken with the phone, just general day-to-day snapshots, look really good. And I love that you've got the ability to go to that wide-angle viewpoint as well. I wouldn't say that the photos are better quality than a professional camera, because they're not. You've got a tiny little sensor in there. It's just never going to achieve the same thing that a proper camera can. But certainly it's as good as a little compact camera, and for general family snapshots when you're out and about, good quality and a definite step up over the iPhone 8. Here's an example photo that I took the other day down at the coast. I think it looks good for a small sensor camera. Really great. That wide angle lens is really nice, and I was able to capture a moment when I didn't have my camera on me, and I appreciated that. The next thing is the size. This is bigger than my iPhone 8. It's bigger than the iPhone 11 Pro, the standard size. So this phone is the same size exactly as the iPhone XR, or 10R, depending on your viewpoint, that came out last year. And I find it maybe just a little bit too big for me. I'd prefer a smaller phone, but I wasn't going to pay the premium for the 11 Pro. When it comes to using the phone, of course, the iPhone 8 had Touch ID, and I always think that's a good solution, just being able to put your thumb on the phone, because it means that you can use it at an angle. With Face ID, if the phone is sort of on a table or slightly away from you, you can't unlock it without picking it up. That's a bit stupid. You've got to pick it up if you touch it with your thumb as well. I guess that's not what I meant. There are times when Touch ID would work better than Face ID. With Face ID, you have to be looking at it. But it is very good. I do like the way that you can pick up the phone, and if there's a notification on the screen and you're looking at the screen, it will just open up the notification to give you a bit more detail. I like the way that works, because it keeps your notifications private. When you've got a notification coming up in the first few lines of an email there on the screen for everyone to see, that's not very good for privacy, is it? When it comes to using the phone without the home button, I'm quite happy with that. I already have the newer generation of iPad Pro, so I've gotten used to it. And I think generally in usage, the phone is really nice to use. It's very fast. In fact, I benchmarked this phone on Geekbench 5, and I was absolutely staggered by the results. The chip that's in this phone is faster than my MacBook Air, and not just a bit faster, by quite some margin as well. In fact, the processor in this phone for single core applications outperforms my iMac 27 at home. And I think that's pretty astounding, considering this phone costs £729. Actually, this one was a little bit more than that, because it's the 128 gig version. But you can have an iPhone 11 for £729, and it's got a processor in it that will outperform most computers out there. Is it expensive? Well, yes. iPhones are more expensive than some of the competition, but I think you get good value for that. And as always with Apple products, they tend to hold their value much better than comparable Android products or Windows products. Now, I just want to say that I'm not an Apple fanboy, but I do like Apple products. And what I mean by that is that I would happily buy an Apple product because I have a measure of trust in the brand. But that doesn't mean that I would buy all of their products, or that I think everything they do is amazing and better than everything else on the market, because it quite clearly isn't. I think the iPhone 11 Pro is unfairly priced. I don't believe it's worth £320 more than the iPhone 11. And I don't like the way I was treated in the Apple Store. I don't like the way that if you buy the top of the range product, you get a a massive choice of accessories, but if you buy the lower grade product, then you're penalised for that. That shows a level of contempt for the consumer. And I think that's a bit pervasive actually in the things that Apple do as a company. Of course, I moan about those accessories, but I'd never buy one. I mean, £45 for a case just because it's got an Apple logo on. That doesn't make any sense. I understand that Apple needs to protect the premium quality of its brand, and one of the key ways to do that is to raise the prices. And Apple are certainly not alone in that regard. And I do get that. And actually, it doesn't matter in most cases, because if you can afford to buy a new iPhone or an Apple laptop, when it comes to upgrading 3 years down the line, it's still worth something, because these products are out of the reach of many people. And so many people who want Apple products are shopping on the used market. Now, what that does is it helps keep the prices relatively high. So when you come to sell your MacBook or your iPhone, then you get a decent amount back, and you can put that then towards the next device. And that lowers the total cost of ownership once you get into the Apple ecosystem. But that isn't true when it comes to a case. You know, this case doesn't hold any value whatsoever. It'll be beaten up within a year, and it's not worth anything. So why have an inflated price for what is effectively a consumable product? What it is price gouging. It's just making money out of your customers for no good reason. Well, those are my thoughts. There's not much else I can say about it. There's plenty of other videos on YouTube with people doing real deep dive reviews in the iPhone. I just wanted to share my experience with it. Well, I hope you found that useful. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Why not consider subscribing and viewing more of my content? Or if you felt the video was a load of rubbish, you can hit the dislike button twice. And I'll see you next time for more geekery.